Okay, let's go. So we're back to our series on character building, right? And the characteristic we're talking about today is balance. Balance is very important in life. Recently, I've been listening to some podcasts, and one of my favorite podcasts is called Radio Lab. It talks about science and technology. I really dig it. So I heard a podcast about cancer cells, and how they have new technology to battle against cancer cells. So I want to start today's sermon with what I learned. Okay, so if you guys don't know, in the United States, about 40% of men and 39%, almost 40% as well, of women will be diagnosed with invasive, which is very strong type of cancer at a certain point of their lifetime. That's terrifying. 40%? That is out of 40% is almost out of 3 people, 1 person is gonna get it, right? Cancer. For men, the 3 most popular cancers are prostate cancer, lung cancer, and colorectal cancer, which is colorectal cancer is your colon, right? Your stomach. And for women, it's breast, lung, and colorectal. Right. Here's a chart that's very interesting, seeing that the ratio of cancer that everyone's getting. Why do you think lung cancer was such a smoking? Yes. Smoking was no one really cared about smoking back in the days, but from a scientific perspective, that ever since we start publicizing the danger of smoking, as you can see, lung cancer went down. So this is a very interesting chart, right? There's a lot of cancers out there, but as you can see, a lot of these cancers, lung, right? Colon, stomach, prostate is reproductive, right, for guys. Breast, reproductive for women. But as you can see, a lot of this cancer is, I feel like, okay, so in the interesting part in science, if you talk to like a marketing person, they'll tell you, oh, it's because of this, and here's the solution. Let me sell you the solution. But if you talk to a scientist, scientists never say anything specific. So if you ask a scientist, scientists say, look at the data, and it seems like once we inform people about smoking, lung cancer goes down. So we're looking at correlation, right? So it seems to me like out of the 3, 2 of them is something that's what we can control, something that we're doing to ourselves. Smoking, right? Infects lungs. What you eat infects colon. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of things, it seems like a lot of these cancers that we get is because of the lifestyle that we live. Make sense? So what is cancer? There's in our body, there's trillions of cells, okay? And looking at science, it brings me actually closer to religion, because I believe there's a God. Because if we look at how we are created to a molecular level, everything is like so well designed, right? So you have a normal cell, and normal cell multiplies. Cancer cell is a normal cell that's mutated, right? And same thing in cancer cell. What happens when it gets really bad is when cancer cells multiply endlessly, right? So if you look at just cells in general, its job is to grow, is to rest, is to repair, and is to die when the job is done. Simple, right? But then if you look at a cancer cell, what is the mutation? What is the difference? Is number one, it's growing way too fast. It's taking up a lot more of nutrients because of the speed it's growing. It's multiplying. It's like, oh, I need nutrients too. So we have all the cells, and then you have this cancer cell. It's like fighting for the same resource, right? So it's growing way too fast. It's taking up all the nutrients so that other regular cells doesn't have the ability to fight against it. And last but not least, it ignores the signals to stop. So it never dies. It just keeps on consuming. It consumes so much. Okay. So that's what cancer cell is. And if you look at a stage 4 cancer, the survival rate is actually very low. It's 10 to 30%. And then, you get to live the most about 5 years. So very interesting. I don't know when in high school you start learning about this, something like that. And I want to point out, this is a side topic. A lot of you guys don't know what you want to do when you grow up. But what do you know? You know San Diego is a good place, right? I don't know if you compare San Diego to other places. We have the best weather in the world, right? How do you stay in San Diego? You go into biochemistry because San Diego is the hub. Okay, it's like Silicon Valley is the hub. San Francisco is the hub for tech. We are the hub for biochemistry. So if you want to be successful in San Diego, to have an enjoyable life in San Diego, go into biochemistry. Okay. Anyways, so not to get into the nitty-gritty of it, but all cells, including cancer cells, they're fighting for the same resource: blood, oxygen, nutrition, right? The only thing is cells, when they're done with their job, they stop. Cancer cells don't know how to stop. They just continue to produce and produce and produce. A lot of times when I see cancer cells, I just see a cell that's lost its way. It doesn't know. It lost its balance. It goes crazy. It's like you discovering. It's like you with unlimited time watching YouTube or playing video games. You don't sleep. We went to sleep over at a friend's house. Asher didn't sleep the whole night because we didn't lock the YouTube for him. So, okay. So even worse, he found out faster. So he goes haywire. It was just binging on YouTube, right? So yeah. So I feel like in a way, cancer is like that. And doesn't have restriction anymore. It doesn't have direction. It doesn't have balance. It just binge on everything and can't stop. So cancer is what happens when cells stop living for a balance and starting living only for themselves. That's what I want to say. So we established that cancer is not a good thing. And I want to address a little bit about prevention, because if you guys know the prevention at this age, you guys said you're not going to be in the statistic of the 40%, right? So the prevention is very easy. Finding balance in your life. First thing, awareness. I think in our sermons, we talk about this topic over and over again. You want to be successful in life, you have to be aware. A lot of times we are not aware of our surrounding, and we're like, we don't. So for example, just last week or 2 weeks ago, a kid got ran over on his e-bike. Terrible accident. he's still on life support right now. Okay, and I was asking you guys who knows someone who got into an accident last week, right? But how many of you have seen one of your friend or a kid on e-bike on their cell phone, with their helmet not buckled in? Okay, I saw. It feels like a lot of times we don't even know the seriousness of being aware, especially in serious situation, right? So awareness, very important. Avoiding toxins, for example, we all know processed food is not good, right? Because why? Let me ask you, who here knows processed food is not good? Okay. Who here know that a lot of things that we are actually processed food? For example, what is processed food? Cookie is a processed food. Chips, chips is semi-processed. Cake is processed, right? A lot of things are processed, right? But when we're eating it, we don't know. Sugar, yes. I eat sugar because I don't eat it all the time. No, I don't eat it all the time. But when I eat it, I enjoy it. Okay. Like when I eat an ice cream, I have 10 scoops, but I don't eat ice cream every week. I eat ice cream every 2 days. I don't know. This guy is kind of weird. Okay, so alcohol, smoking, now that there's scientific studies coming out that vaping is causing cancer, something that everyone thought was safe. Okay, a lot of people we rely for the government to tell us. Okay, but yeah, government has already said alcohol, smoking, including vaping, is not safe. Okay. What other preventions? Rest is very important, because when we're resting, and a lot of times I didn't even think about it this way. Resting is actually when your body goes into repair mode, right? Repairing is very important. When you have your cells, when you have, say, cancer cells, and your body needs energy for the antibodies to have time to go search and kill for the cancer cells. But when you're always tired, your body is not in that state. So resting is very important. Stress. You guys all hear that stress kills, right? Stress. So weird. Like growing up, I hear it a lot too, that stress kill. But how does stress kill? We'll talk about it. Okay, but yeah, stress causes a hormone, and that hormone hurts immunity. Well, yeah, but really, if you look at the scientific aspect of it, stress actually really kills. Okay, so last thing, movement. Exercise helps regulate hormones and inflammation. So running, strength training, a lot of hormones helps. A lot of exercise does help with their life, especially with old people. Like a lot of the grandparents, you hear that one of the biggest thing is they have osteoporosis. Who knows what osteoporosis is? Just one person? Osteoporosis. Anyone knows what that? Anyone heard of it before? Okay. Osteoporosis. Tell them what it is. Weakening of the bones. Is when you look at the bones. Our bones is supposed to be dense, right? Like a rock. It has holes in it. Okay. So over time, people are getting so inactive that they lose their bone density. They're barely walking. They're not doing exercise. So exercise is very important. So I think that's very important thing to be aware, because I wonder how many people have osteoporosis. I want to say like 70-80%, right? To have an active lifestyle, and I emphasize on the word lifestyle. If you don't have that lifestyle, you have to devote time to build that lifestyle. You don't just become active. Okay, your dad ran half marathon yesterday with Uncle Julio.
Yeah.
Right. I ran 14 miles yesterday. You don't just do that 14. You don't just do that. Okay. I challenge you guys to do a half marathon. You'll figure out that you have to change your lifestyle, because you have to put in practice time daily. Okay, that's how you do it. So you have to change lifestyle. So cancer happens when cells lose balance, and same thing, our lives fall apart when people lose its balance, right? So true balance is only possible when Jesus is our foundation. In the Bible, Jesus says, I am the rock, right? I'm the rock. I am the solid foundation for us to build our life onto. So when we say, we want to have a blessed life, we have to build a life that's balanced. With that, we are going to start today's sermon. What happens if one side of the scales gets too heavy? Huh? Which one's heavier? What happens when you have 6 and 7? It becomes imbalanced, right? You need 6 or 7 to have a balance. All right. One small shift, everything falls apart. All right. 6, 7, the thing topples. One bad habit, one wrong friend, one secret, one addiction, one obsession, one compromise. When you do wrong decision over and over again. I heard something that's really enlightening yesterday when I was running. A wise person says that, it's a CEO. He says that we have to allow ourselves to do the wrong thing. Okay. We cannot be too stressed out about it, because if we are too stressed out, our mind cannot be focused. The important thing is not to worry about doing the wrong thing, but to do more right things overall, so that we have a balance. Because everyone makes wrong decision in our life, right? When was the last time you make a wrong decision? For example, I don't know, when was the last time you make a wrong decision? For example, choosing not to sleep and then waking up really tired. That's a wrong decision. But yeah, in life, there's a lot of times we make wrong decisions. For example, instead of finishing our homework, we choose gaming first. In social media and dating, with money, with success, money. I think that's a lot of times people make wrong decision there, and they lose a lot of things, right? They lose all of their money. Even if you put all your money in predicting what Trump is going to say next. I don't know. We're not going to go into politics. If you buy the wrong team when you're betting on sports, I don't know. Gambling is bad, right? So people lose all their money. I actually have an uncle in my family who really lost everything in his life because he's a gambler, right? I don't understand why, but yeah, his life is just totally messed up. And he died at the age of 50 or something. It's really young. Yeah, so too much of everything that's good for you becomes bad because there's no balance. So even the cancers teach us that cells become more dangerous when they stop living in balance and start living only for themselves, right? So 3 points we're talking about today, and hopefully we can bring this teaching into our life. First thing, like I was saying, stay aware. Awareness is very important. Balanced people are aware people. In Proverbs 4:23, it says that above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. What flows from it? Your thoughts, your desires, your beliefs, your motives, your action, your character, your spiritual condition. So protect what gets into your inner life, because whatever gets into your heart, right? Whatever gets into your heart corrupts it. Like the cell still looks the same, but it's corrupted. The basic function gets disrupted, right? Think of it like spring water. Who dare to drink something like this? Root beer. This is root beer. Root beer right there. So imagine if spring is clean water flows out, right? You don't like to hang out with people who is with dirty things flowing out of them, right? If spring is polluted water flows out. In Luke 6:45, it says, a good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart. And an evil person brings out evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. For mouth speaks what the heart is full of. Such wisdom in the Bible, right? So yeah, be super hyper aware of what you're putting in your heart. Okay? Because when you corrupted your heart, then out from you comes out root beer. Okay, so guard what you watch, guard what you listen to, guard who your influencer is, guard what you repeatedly think about, and guard what you feed yourself spiritually. Point number 2, true peace and rest. Okay, this is very important. Peace, we already talked about how stress kills. Okay, so if you have true peace, it's very important, right? So do your part. So how do we have true peace and rest? It's 2 parts, okay? Do your part, then trust God with the rest. We all experienced stress before, right? When was the last time, Bella, you have stress? When you have to perform something? When you have to take a test? When was the last time you had a stress? Kyle? When was the last time you felt stressed out? Andy? Big Ethan, when was the last time you felt stressed out? Assignment due? That's good. What else? What else makes you stress out? Test. Lizzie, when was the last time you stressed out? Test. Okay, so we have consensus, right? Test stresses us out, right? When we feel stressed out, with trouble sleeping, anxiety, depression, if the stress gets even worse, we might even have heart attack and stroke. So I was talking about how cells are amazing, science is amazing. When we say stress kills, the reason behind it is that when we have stress, we produce a thing called cortisol. right? Cortisol is known as a stress hormone, right? When you overproduce it, when you have that, your body get rid of it, right? But when you have so much of it, if you have this condition called cortisol resistance. And when cortisol has this cortisol resistance, it weakens your immune system to destroy abnormal cells. So with that said, when you have any sort of resistance, you get sick. That's another type of resistance that kills us. Do you guys know what it is? Very common. It's called insulin resistance. You guys heard about insulin resistance? Diabetes? Have you guys heard about diabetes? It's when you have too much sugar, right? Yeah. When you have too much sugar, when you have sugar, right, your body uses it as energy. When you have too much, it produces insulin to get rid of it. But you have so much that your body is like, oh my God, it loses its balance. You have insulin resistance and you get sick. So any thoughts, anything that's too much destroys the balance of your body, right? Which is a bad thing. So 2 reasons why people lose its peace. And you guys, we talked about it. First thing is because I didn't do my part. Second thing, I am trying to do God's part. 2 points, okay? Very interesting. So what does it mean? Peace comes when you have done your part. Well, you guys all said that, you feel tremendous peace when tests is coming, when exams are coming. But imagine you have studied over and over and you're fully prepared for your exam. Do you think, are you going to be stressed? That's because you fall into second part, because you are doing God's part. If you have studied over and over again, then you have done your part. Yes.
And I start studying until the day before, and then she got all sore. I got like 90.
You got 90 something, you're stressed out?
No, but Iris got all sore.
Iris? Maybe she's just lucky. Maybe it's just a class that she really likes, and she's probably not studying as much for that test, but overall she has a lot of knowledge because she really likes that class. Maybe Iris is just one of that kind of genius, So anyways, coming back, this is very interesting, right? There's 2 parts, and really, if you want to have peace in your life, peace is so important. I can't stress enough, because a lot of people, they have a lot of money, but they have no peace. They have a lot of success, and they have no peace. And when you don't, when you have one and not the other, a lot of times, what's the point of having a lot of money then? What's the point of a lot of success then, right? So in Proverbs 21:5, it says, unplowed field of the wicked, unplowed field of the wicked produces sin. Okay, this is a very strong sentence right here. So let's simplify it. If a field is unplowed, it produces something bad, okay? The plans of the diligent is attentive. The plans of the diligent lead to abundance as surely as haste leads to poverty. So here, God is teaching us how to have abundance, how to have success in our life, right? When we have a field that we have to take care of and we don't do anything with it, God says this is a sin. This is something that's bad. Okay, why does he say that? Okay, because if you don't intentionally grow something good in your field, guess what's going to happen? You guys don't know because you guys don't really, you're not really a farmer, but the the soil hardens. When the soil hardens, you can't grow anything anymore, right? But then, other than that, here comes, there's gonna be weed and bugs, and nothing healthy grows in your field. Okay, we are, in a sense, we are all farmers. We have, our life is our field. Okay, if we don't intentionally grow and nurture our own field, okay, then it's on. Imagine this: your life is a field, and a lot of people, they grow up into just a field of weeds. Do you prefer that, or do you prefer your life as a field of what's the fruit that you really like? You like garlic or strawberry? Yeah. So for Skylar, strawberry field. What about you? What's your favorite? What about you? What's your favorite field? Well, favorite fruit? Mango. Oh, I like that. I actually like mangoes. When I was growing up, I remember the dry mango. I had a huge bag, and I was eating. I finished the whole bag, and I had asthma right away. So weird. I think it was the sugar or something. But yeah, so mango. What about you, Andy? What's your favorite food? Watermelon. Right. So yeah. So imagine when you looking at your life as a field, would you prefer your life to be your watermelon field, your mango field, your strawberry field, or just a field with weeds? Okay. It's a choice, right? It's a choice. Okay. God says here, if you have a field and you don't plow it, it's a sin. Okay. It's a sin for yourself. You're doing yourself injustice. You are just doing yourself injustice. Okay, so the second part is doing your part, and then the second part is letting God do his part. So here we have four stories in the Bible. When Moses brought the whole of Israelites to the Red Sea, God says, raise your staff, and that he did. After Moses did it, God did his part. God opened up the Red Sea. Here, David and Goliath. David was always practicing. He was sharing to King Saul that, that he protects his sheep against lions and bears. So we know that David is a guy who practices his skills, right? Right. But when Goliath was challenging, David ran towards the battle. God did his part. God defeated Goliath for him. We have the story of Jericho. We all remember the story of Jericho. This story is one of the strangest story that I ever thought of. I think that it was one of the strangest story because right before this, God told Israelites, go in to the land of honey and milk. It's supposed to be a great thing, right? Go into the land of honey and milk, the land that I promised for you. First task, circle this, attack this city right here. What does it mean? That we have to fight for our own bright future. Okay, so Jericho, the people of Israelites, they obeyed. They did whatever was instructed to them. And God brought the walls down. Okay. Another example. Last example. Peter walking on water. I've totally forgot that Peter actually walked on water. I remember, like, every time when I think about this story, I just remember that Peter failed. But if we look at the story, then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came towards Jesus. He actually walked on water and came to Jesus. But then he saw the wind, he got afraid, and he started sinking. But yeah, we always remember the second part. But damn, that was pretty good. He actually got out of the boat. He walked on water. That is miracle right there. But yeah, his obedience allowed him to step out, and Jesus did his job. So yeah, so we have to learn how to do two things. First, do our part, and second, let God do his part. Yes. It's not a battleship, it's his sailboat. Last but not least, point number 3, movement. Okay, movement is the essence of life. Okay, and I think that's why that's why I started today's sermon with cells, with science, because I want to tie everything back to science. Okay, essence of life, movement is very, very important. If someone stops moving, if something stops moving, it is gonna start dying. Okay, everything moves. Baby moves. Your heart moves. Your lung moves. Your blood moves. Your cell moves. Your muscle moves. Your thought moves. Okay, your spirit is meant to move. Okay, so we are designed to move. Physically, you know, when I run a lot. I think I established the fact that I run a lot, and I hurt my back, my lower back, 3 times now, maybe 3-4 times, and it's so painful, right? But every time when I hurt myself, I have this debate if I should continue to run. So I talked to a doctor, and the doctor actually says that. So the doctor actually taught me that, you know, movement lubricates joint, and you know, when I saw this, goosebumps starts coming out, right? So you don't know, movement is so important that it lubricates joints. Movement helps pump oxygen throughout your body. Okay, so you know, for us to be alive, we need oxygen to be pumped by blood, right? It is movement, and it releases endorphins. And I don't want to get into too deep about that, but endorphins is the exciting hormone that, you know, that motivates us to do things, right? Not only physically, mentally, our minds thrive on continuous learning. Do you guys enjoy learning? When you find something you're interested in, right? The passion that flows when you find something that you're interested in, that continuous, that enjoyment. For example, when you're reading, okay, when you read a really good book, you know, it gets you going, right? You know, you enjoy reading. The new adaptation, the new experiences, those are all really good when your mental flow is moving. Last but not least, emotional growth. When we are moving through challenges, a lot of people, we don't want challenge. I remember growing up, I was asking God, and this is before I become a Christian, right? I just pray to God that I don't want any challenge. I just want a peaceful life. I don't need challenges. I'm happy with what I am, right? But really, we grow when we have challenges, rather than freezing in place, allowing us to process emotions. When we have challenge, we process emotion. You know, we can adapt to life, and we move towards resilience. I want to share one thing that I learned from my science podcast with you guys, and then we'll finish today's sermon. There's a state in our body called autophagy. Autophagy is when you go into starvation mode, right? So your cells, it's always, imagine your cells is like general contractors. You know, when I want to build a house, the general contractor's job is to direct the plumbers to do this, the pavers to do that. So it's like a manager, right? So when we are always eating, we have, like I say, we have nutrition, we have the elements to build a house, right? Autophagy is when you go into starvation mode, when you're not eating. The general manager says, wait, we don't have anything to work with. What should we do? So they stop. Okay, but instead of stopping, they get creative. They look around and say, oh, there's a piece of wood over there. Let's recycle that. There's a piece of metal here. Let's recycle that. This is autophagy. Autophagy is when your body becomes creative and recycle a lot of existing cells within your body. Okay, and that is the beauty of it. Like, our God has built us from the inside out, that when we have challenge, we have creativity. Do you get what I'm trying to say? When we have challenges in our life, when we have problems in our life, that's when we become creative. So when you guys have challenge in the future, embrace it, because that's when creativity flows out. Amen? You get what I'm trying to say? Yeah? No? Yes? So, couple of things that we talked about. Okay. This is Ethan's favorite, right? 6, 7. We have to move, but we have to move in the direction of God. We can't just move as the world. In Romans 12:2, it says, do not conform of the pattern of this world, but be transformed by renewing your mind. If we're just following this world, we just get retarded. It's okay to have fun and follow memes, but if we're just... I have a slide here. I have a slide here that I really want to... Okay, it's the same slide. Our brain is designed to learn, to solve, to create, to imagine. One of the biggest problems that you guys will face in your adult life or your life is that now you have ChatGPT. If you outsource your ability to learn, to solve, to create, to imagine to ChatGPT, because everything you do, you ChatGPT it, then you lose it. Okay, so no growth, no reflection. A lot of people, they don't even know how to critical think anymore. Take everything by face value. When someone tells you it's good, oh, is it good? Is it good? Oh, I guess it's good. We have to think. God gave us this brain so that we can think, that we can solve, that we can learn, that we can create, that we can imagine. I'm looking at Asher sometimes, and I see that kids is full of imagination. As you guys grow up, you're starting to lose that little by little. But imagination is what causes creativity. Make sense? All right, so that's it. Movement is the essence of life, and following Jesus' direction gives us its balance. Big Ethan, can you do closing prayer for us, please? Amen. Thank you. Thank you.